little fat boy.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. You join me here on a nice lovely sunny day in February with the Thought 100 1V bobber here. At the moment I've got on the Engine Hawk Deadeye kind of textile jacket. The plan is at the moment, because I've only owned a pair of like black, white sketchy gloves, I got them second hand for about £10. I thought I'd get a slightly nicer pair from Triumph to kind of go with the jacket, because I think it'll match me better than those, like, you know, like the yellow kind of style old school gloves. So I think the plan for today is we're going to head down probably to Woven, Triumph Woven, I think from the nearest one. Hop on the bobber, talk a little bit about bikes, and hopefully get a nice new pair of gloves, and then maybe we'll go get some chicken wings afterwards, because I absolutely love wings. So let's get to it.
Right, let's hop on. Oh. Get the pillion pegs gone. Had Imogen on the back yesterday, so back to solo riding now. Mine definitely needs a wash. The bike needs a wash as well. The front headlight is disgusting. But sunny days for riding, we can wash the bike later. As you can see, not the best pair of gloves in the world. I don't know what make they are, like Furus or something like that. Fergan. But a friend of mine was selling some gear, and he was just like, "Oh, they're fairly warm, like lined gloves. Do you want them running around the winter?" And I was like, "How much do you want from the tenner?" I was like, "Oh, fine, yeah, I'll take them." But they're not the best in the world. I've got another pair of like Alpine Stars, like really nice ones, but they're more kind of like race gloves, and definitely not the vibe. Yeah, Fiat, go on, you give way. Good egg, thank you. Yeah, and the Alpine Stars ones, they're very kind of like racy and big gauntlets. Like honestly, trying to do up the cuffs of this with those gauntlets on, almost impossible. You need a second person to do your jacket up, which is not really a vibe when you're out running about. Thank you. So yeah, I thought a nice pair of like those like old school like yellow leather that look like you see like kind of like an old western, it's like a cowboy wearing them with those like kind of gloves working on a ranch, stuff like that. That's the vibe we're going for, and that's what I'm looking for. Oh, that's a bit better. Hopefully you can still hear me at 60 miles an hour. But yeah, so I want to talk a bit about bikes today, and my kind of future plans, and I'd really appreciate people's feedback on either am I being an idiot, are there better bikes out there, just kind of what people think really. So this is my first big bike. I've still got a Husqvarna Svartpilen 125, and that's away in storage, needs a service, but it's a great bike. I bought it brand new kind of when they came out at end of 2021, and I did that because I passed my CBT, and I thought, you know what, let's get a 125 to ride around on for, I don't know, 3-4 months to get more comfortable riding, and just so that when you come to your kind of big bike test, because here in the UK the process is very much kind of, you get about three days or so of instruction before you take your test, and it's quite a lot to learn. If you haven't got like a lot of history riding bikes, it's a lot to kind of take on in terms of, right, your left hand is clutching, you didn't need to shoulder check, you put around vehicles, make sure there's enough of like a car door's width away, and if there's a vehicle there you need to yield, and then shoulder check again, and feather the clutch out, a little bit of throttle, and it's like, you do it instinctively now without even thinking about it, but when you're learning to ride, it's quite a lot to try and remember. So I thought, actually I'll get a little 125, cruise control, and just kind of potter around. So I've got this Svartpilen, and actually phenomenal of a little bike, happily goes up to 70 miles an hour. I took it on the dual carriageway down to London. I took it, so I'm kind of, I suppose, bit towards the east. I'm just north of Luton, south of Cambridge here, and then took it all the way to the Cotswolds around New Year's Eve time for kind of weekend away with a backpack on. It was really capable, and it's absolutely fine. I could corner faster on that bike than I can on this, because this just grinds out. But so I've kept that because I'm trying to convince Imogen to start riding, and she's going to book a CVT next month. I thought, if I sell it, I'll probably sell it for about £3,500. However, I know that if I do sell it and she passes a CVT, what's she going to ride around on? Nothing. She's not probably really in a position to buy a bike for herself. I don't really know anyone else with a 125 that she could kind of learn on. And so what I think would happen would be she'd do a CVT, and 2 years later it would just kind of expire, and that would be a bit sad really. So I thought about keeping the 125 until she passes her big bike test, because I think it's such a nice thing to do. I'm not desperate for the money right now. My plan, however, is I'd like to do a bit more kind of sporty ride. What is this? Is there a Reliant Robin behind me? Ha! I'd like to do a little bit more kind of like sporty riding, so I was looking to get a sports bike. I thought about getting like a kind of track bike, but I want to be able to ride around kind of roads like this and be comfortable doing like kind of longer rides on it. So like, say for instance, need to go across the country for work, I want to be comfortable doing like 2-3 hours on the bike without my shoulders being absolutely ruined. And then I was torn, like, do I go straight for a litre bike, or do I get a 600? So I was looking at like my Yamaha R7s, I was looking at the Aprilia, I think 660R, I think it is. That was another bike that seems to be reviewed quite well. I was also looking at, then if you look at like litre bikes, Ducati at Panigale, probably a V2, I think a V4 is too much. But I test rode a V2, and that was pretty aggressive and very, very hot. That's standstill traffic. The one I'm really interested in is the Speed Triple RR. But yeah, the Speed Triple RR, I think, potentially is a winner. It's not full sports bike, but it's sporty enough. Obviously, as you can tell, I've got a soft spot for Triumphs, and I know Thornton 100 currently are doing 2 Speed Triple RR builds. I hope this van doesn't pull out on me, or I thought he was going to then. Thank you. Yeah, so Thornton 100 are currently doing 2 Speed Triple RR builds, a kind of supercharged drag bike and a carbon fibre cafe racer. And cafe racer is actually probably more what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that I can really lean down the corners. I want something where I can get lent over, do some track days, but mainly I use a bike for going to the shops, going to a cafe, get a coffee, going to lunch, hang out with friends. And so I think that's what I want in a bike. So either A, am I considering it all wrong and I should only be looking at cafe races, or if I do look at sports bike, the main reason I'm not going for a cafe racer or a naked is because my 125s are naked and this is an upright bike. And so if I got something too much like that, I'd be like, well, I'm essentially just getting a different style, like fast cruiser essentially. And I think they're just, for me, I think a naked and the Bobber are just a little bit too similar. I know a lot of people are going to be like, what are you talking about? One's a Bobber, one's a naked, but I just don't think they're different enough. I want that kind of like hunkered over position. I mean, if I could afford it, I'd buy the new Norton cafe racer that's coming out, but I think they're about £40,000 and that's too much money. At the moment, I'm firmly in the Speed Triple RR camp at the moment. I think unless something amazing comes along, that's what I'll be getting. Like the only bike that I would get instead of the RR is a bike that doesn't officially exist yet. If you Google Husqvarna Vitpillen 701 Aero, I'll try and put a picture up on the screen now. Husqvarna keep teasing this bloody thing. It keeps winning a lot of awards as a concept bike. It is honestly the most beautiful motorcycle I think I've ever seen. If that came out, I might even go home and phone Husqvarna and go, look, whatever list there is, I know you say the bike doesn't exist, but there's a list. There's definitely a list of people interested in this bike. Please put me on it and put me down for one, because I want one. What are you braking for? What do I do with the channel, kind of like long term, and what direction do we go in? My plan to begin with was I do kind of car and bike content, because I've got a fun Aston Martin, I've got a Audi RS7 that I've tuned, so it's got like exhaust, intake, stage 1, lots of fun, and my plan was to kind of just bring you guys with me and to kind of talk about what it's like having cars, bikes as just a kind of normal bloke without like tons and tons of money in a seemingly endless stream of supercars. I've been very fortunate that I've managed to buy my dream car, and I'd like to just share some of the realities of what it's like to own them, what it's like to actually put miles on them, and what it's like to own like custom bikes like this. I'm not planning on buying loads of new cars every week and be like, oh, this, and review other stuff. So the plan was just to go what it's like to have this bike, those two cars, and take you to some meets and maybe track days and things like that. And it was to do a mix of car content and motorbike content. I'm just gonna be me, because I also still find it so cringy talking at the camera like that. That intro, like, painful. But I think the plan is I'm just gonna put videos out there, keep putting them out there, because I've got the car, I've got the bike, and it seems a shame to not make anything, because creating videos is pretty good fun. It's good for your mental health. It's got me out of the house. Like, what else am I going to do today? It's the day after my birthday. I've got the day off work. What was I going to do? Either sit in the house, watch some TV, play Warzone, drink some wine. I mean, yeah, I could do that. Go to the gym. Probably still go to the gym when I get back. But this is just so good for your mind. And like, oh, look at that. Just getting out in the sun, got heated grips on, pretty warm, looking at the views, looking at the countryside. It's hard to beat, isn't it? That feeling of just freedom. Woohoo! Oh, that's very nice.
How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm saying that's stunning.
Yeah, yours obviously 1400 nice.
Yeah, well, so you've got some of the bits as well.
Yeah.
Let's just... I love motorbikes. Everyone's so friendly. Alright, bud, back again. I've literally just come to buy those pair of gloves that I spotted yesterday. There we go. Perfect.
Lovely, George.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
See you Saturday.
Yeah, see you Saturday. Yeah. Come back for you. Give it some absolute beans when you go. Yes. Right. New gloves. What do we think? I think that looks so much better. Yeah, initial impression so far, pretty great. They've got like nice leather palms, which is what like the last ones didn't have, which is what I kind of had been worried about them. But no, very comfortable. You can feel the leather, look how it crinkles on your fingers, which is quite a weird sensation. But yeah, reinforced knuckles. Oh yeah, great. Stuck his nose out already. Probably didn't tint your front windscreen like a knob, you'd be able to see properly. But mission 1. new gloves, nipped. Oh, I do love that kind of silhouette just there as you're running along. I think we head into town and we get some chicken wings. I'm going to absolutely chow down on some wings like a little fat boy. Here we are, centre of Hitchin. Now, where is Chicken George? The question's going to be where I'm going to park. I mean, I might gently just drive onto the curb and park right outside the shop window. Oh, it's so tasty. Still taste it now. Oh my god, honestly, Chicken George, Hitchin. If you live nearby, you have to go.